Hey, folks. Okay, there, that's a little bit better. All right. So we're doing things a little differently today because obviously my software is not working. And I've been a little under the weather. So this and many, many other things have all come together to create this moment between us. So in order to get you the September horoscopes this month, I had an option of either sitting down and writing them out or kind of doing this on the fly. So we will be doing the September horoscopes literally right now. So I will be looking at the aspects for the month for the first time with you. All right. So the month of September it's a good month. So some of the most important things that we have going on right now, this first week of September, and it culminates on the 6th, September 6th, 2018, is Saturn will finally be direct. So it makes its station direct. We're feeling it this first week. So today is the 3rd. So even now as we speak, we are feeling this station. So a lot of stuff, well, anytime you have a planet changing directions, things are represented or houses represented by the planet in our charts can feel like they're coming to a bit of a standstill. Now, with Saturn making stations or changing directions, as Saturn makes a station, there are things that can feel like they have a lot more momentous gravity occurring. So tectonic plate shifts underneath the earth as we speak. So things are coming to a head or a conclusion or a culmination or the point of no return with Saturn station. So right now, big, important, major turnabouts are occurring one way or the other. And they'll be very, very hard to undo once they're set in motion. This does not mean that they are bad, but it does mean that they are important. So in all ways, in all cases, do your best to handle any events or news that's coming this way with as much grace and dignity as possible. And understand, and this is even if it's to your benefit, nobody likes a sore winner. It's very important to understand that there are much bigger things at play for you and for the people around you in life. So it should be good though. Saturn moving direct means that Saturn can function and do what Saturn likes to do in ways that are natural for it without interference or resistance. So a lot of us should feel a tremendous amount of relief and an easing of pressure as things start to unsnarl and untangle and straighten out on their own. So you're going to find that life starts moving forward in a trajectory that makes sense for a change. All right, now, as this is happening, immediately after Saturn officially turns around, okay, Jupiter will be hitting the ecliptic degree. So remember the 18 Leo eclipse that we just had in August or July? Or here, August, last month. So we will be getting that eclipse activation in the 2nd and 3rd week of September. So anybody who's having sensitive points or planets at the 18th degree of fixed signs, Taurus, Scorpio, give me a second here, Leo, oh my God, and Aquarius, they will be the ones feeling this most directly. Now, interesting to note, we've got this whole first couple weeks of September are very, very busy. Now, as this is happening, we also have Mars changing signs. Woohoo! So Mars has gone direct. So Mars went direct last month. And now it is in those last degrees of Capricorn, getting ready to head into Aquarius. So normally this would be a phenomenal thing, but you know, as these things go, remember, Mars is moving direct again, but it is moving direct through old territory. So we're going through a lot of old familiar stuff and revisiting some things. So believe it or not, with Saturn stationing direct and with Mars going direct now over familiar territory, this because it's going back over eclipse, or not eclipse, oh my God. It's going back over retrograde degrees that just passed. So it's literally coming back through the town, you know, like a recon mission to make sure they haven't left anything behind. And Jupiter is hitting that eclipse degree that we just had activated back in August, that eclipse in August. This is a phenomenal time for those of you who are doing this kind of work in your lives to get to the heart or the root of the problem. So many of you may be feeling a sense of urgency or pressure or critical mass, like literally feeling like you reached the end of it, like you can't stretch any further. This is where something's got to give. For those of you who are kind of feeling that, yeah, and you've probably been feeling that for a while, one of the good things is that right now there will be opportunities that may arise out of the clear blue sky or sheer serendipity that will put you on the path or in contact with situations and people that will allow you to finally unlock the last of those big scary black boxes and get literally this stuff out. So for those of you who are in some kind of therapeutic process with yourself or trying to work through some really sticky issues in your life, this is a great and powerful time to finally get past that hurdle that's literally been dragging you back and holding you down for a long time now. So it won't be easy. These things are never easy, but it will certainly be worth it. And more importantly, it will finally, for a change, be productive. Now, some things to be aware of. As Mars goes through these last degrees of Capricorn, it will be simultaneously squared by Venus and Libra. So that wonderful, sexy Argentinian tango dance of seduction that Venus and Mars have been doing for the last week or so continues on through the first week of September. So first, yeah, like up through the 8th. So for those of you who are dating and mating or wanting to do something a little bit more adventurous to blow off the steam in your life or your relationships, this is a really good time to use that energy for some, necessary adult recreational time. Okay. Now, as Mars changes signs and Venus changes signs, oh, right, and Venus will be changing signs as well. So when Mars goes into Aquarius, Venus, a couple days before, will also be going into Scorpio. So Venus and Scorpio, both changing signs in a square, continuing the square relationship to each other. So it will no longer be Libra and Capricorn, not quite so flirty. And now it will be moving into obsessive Scorpio and Aquarius by square. Woohoo! And it will be setting up a T-square to Uranus. Yay, doggy. Yay. Now, the T-square that we're working with right now is going to be a Mars-Uranus opposition. Venus-Uranus opposition. Venus-Uranus opposition with Mars as the leg. So a lot of this energy is going to be coming through that Mars and Aquarius sort of thing. So anytime, if you have planets in the early degrees of the fixed signs, Aquarius, Leo, Taurus, Scorpio, in the very early degrees, like 0 to 5 degrees, you'll be feeling this the most. For everybody else, you're still going to be feeling it, but it won't be quite so difficult to deal with and not quite so in your face. So with Mars and Aquarius is the T-square, at the leg of the T-square between Venus, Uranus, and Mars. One of the things that we can see are relationships are definitely going to be going through a stress test. Also, at this time, expect some, what's what I'm looking for? Expect some maybe overly pushy behavior in relationships. There's a lot of insecurity that's going to crop up or pop up around this time with this particular T-square. And with Mars and Aquarius, there's a tendency to not necessarily be able to be as diplomatic about these things as possible. Mostly because Mars and Aquarius is very honest and very blunt and tends to, or it lends itself to outbursts. They don't have the time or the patience to spend hours doing the Democratic committee meeting about their feelings or yada, yada, yada. Like they just want to get it done, get out of the way so they can get back to their projects. So there's going to be a lot of impatient kind of like explosion, about things that are bothering people in relationships. This doesn't necessarily have to be bad. There's a lot of honesty and a lot of candor and a lot of fresh air that will make its way in through the cracks that are made from these explosions, but only if you're willing to work with that. So understand that it's just going to be a tense time as far as relationships go, and people may not be as equipped to be as diplomatic as they normally would as far as discussing these things, but these are very important conversations that could lead to some very fruitful things in your life. Okay, so while this is going on, the sun remains in Virgo. Mercury will have entered Virgo right about the same time. So in this week between the 6th and the 13th, that second week of September, we have Mercury going into Virgo, Venus going into Scorpio, Mars going into Aquarius, both of them setting up a T-square to Uranus. Saturn has changed signs, and Jupiter will be activating an eclipse degree. Well, Beatty. So look for some significant things to happen in that second week of September if you're going to be affected by this. If you are not directly impacted by this, count your blessings, and understand there will still be a lot of work that's going to, or commitment, obligation, things that are going to be asked and expected of you and the people around you in an effort to make things better. And also, some of this is not new. So I don't know. Give me a second to work this out, because remember, we're doing this live. So some of this is not, a lot of this is not new. So this second week of September, when all this stuff like kicks in, or these little landmines explode, right? These are not new things. You're going to find that a lot of these situations and a lot of these conversations and a lot of these, efforts to put out firefighters and manage firefights and manage crises as they happen, especially around this week, are from situations that have been hanging around for a long time and really should have been addressed. And they will now. They will now. But as these things go, breakthroughs always come on the heels of unexpected and messy things. So look for the gem in the mess. So it's in there. It's in there. Now, as we're going through the month, some things I want you guys to be aware of as we're going through the month of September. So Pluto is also making its station direct as well. A lot of these planets are turning around and moving forward again. Now, Pluto doesn't officially turn direct until the 2nd of October. But the thing to remember at your outer planets is the further away they are, the longer it takes for them to make their station. So we're feeling it for longer periods of time. So typically, like with a Mercury station, you'll feel it for maybe a week maximum before it's officially changing directions. Venus, a week, maybe a week and a half, not so much different from Mercury. Mars is a little bit longer. You'll feel Mars for about 2 weeks or so before it finally turns direct and changes directions, or retrograde. But when you get to Jupiter, Saturn, and Pluto, and Uranus and Neptune, like, you're feeling them well in advance of them actually turning in a direction and changing. When they get closer to their station degree, you will feel it more intensely. But those rumblings you will have heard and felt in the distance long before them. So since Pluto officially goes direct October 2nd, assume and expect that the entire month of September, you're going to feel Pluto making its station. Now, Pluto will be making its station at 18 Capricorn. So for those of you who have cardinal planets, which would be Aries, Libra, Cancer, or Capricorn, around 18 degrees. So I would give it anything from 14 degrees all the way up to 22, 14 to 22 degrees. You will be feeling this Pluto station. Now, with a Pluto station, some things to look for are some major pivotal events, and also possibly circumstances, situations, and opportunities, things that are completely beyond your control. Expect the fickle finger of fate to step in and do a little swirling in your teacup. Pluto making its station. Pluto has a lot to do with forces and things that are well above and beyond our control. These are forces that are greater than ourselves. So, for instance, here's some interesting stuff, and I will put it in the Patreon page and open it up so everybody can see it. I think it's already there. The entire Trump family, all of the kids, including the son-in-law, are all taking this Pluto station at 18 Capricorn somewhere significant in their charts as a group. Every single one of them. Nobody is not getting hit with this, which for them means that on a family level, as a group, like, there's some big stuff coming down in the month of September. All right. So for you, and we're not going to get into their chart too much, but for you, one of the things that I would say is that when you look at this Pluto station at 18 degrees in a cardinal sign, one of the things you're going to want to look for is what house, if you know your chart, what house is Pluto making this station in? Okay, so for instance, if you have Pluto in, I don't know, The fifth house. All right, fifth house is pretty benign, or maybe the third house. No, we'll do the fifth. So maybe you have Pluto in the fifth house, or this transiting Pluto will make a station in your fifth house. The fifth house is technically and typically rules children, right? But we also know that it rules love affairs, and it rules gambling and risk and speculation. It also rules income earned from projects that you do around the house or from the home itself. So if you had a home and you rented out rooms in your house, like a boarder and tenant situation, the fifth house would be the income derived from your physical property. Okay. So the fifth house has a lot of different meanings. Pluto sitting at the fifth house indicates there's something much bigger and larger than you and what you want that is at play here that will affect those things. So there's the possibility that, depending on what other aspects it's making in your chart, it could be when it comes to children, it could be something significant happens with one of your kids that completely alters the direction of their life or change your relationship with them. Maybe they're moving, maybe they're getting married, maybe they're getting pregnant, maybe they're, I don't know, getting nominated for Nobel Peace Prize, maybe they're being abducted by aliens. Or if you don't have children, you're trying to get pregnant, because pregnancy is also ruled by the fifth. They could be something significant with your reproductive organs. So it may be that after 5 or 6 or 7 years of not being able to get pregnant by any means, Pluto making the station in your fifth house, suddenly, miracle of miracles, you get pregnant for no explainable reason. For those of you who are having love affairs, married or not, it could be that your relationship comes to an abrupt end unexpectedly, or you could have somebody who shows up in your life and sweeps you off your feet and totally changes the course and direction of your life and how you view yourself and what you thought you wanted for the rest of your life, out of nowhere. Or for those of you who do gambling and risk speculation, like Wall Street stocks or sports gambling, whatever or horse racing even. It could be that you go out and buy a lottery ticket that's worth billions of dollars. You make that one lucky bet that nets you a huge amount of money. Or it could be losses where those particular matters of life are concerned. Because Pluto is a go big or go home planet. There is nothing small or petty about Pluto. So with Pluto making its station, anything that Pluto's giving us with this station as it stops to turn direct and releases things into manifestation, anything it's giving us in a big way. Woo-hoo! So watch for that. Now, again, if you have planets in cardinal signs around the 18th degree, so 14 to 22, you should look for some big stuff and be prepared to have your socks knocked off one way or the other. Just be flexible and go with it and batten down the hatches. For those of you who do not carry planets at the 18 degrees cardinal, do not panic. It's not the end of the world. It's actually probably a good thing. So you will still be feeling the effects of a Pluto station, just not quite as uncontrollably as people who are carrying planets at that degree. Because Pluto, again, is about things that are out of our control. And if it's affecting our personal planets, it's definitely affecting matters in our lives that we usually, thankfully, have control over. And we don't now. Circumstances well out of our control. Circumstances and forces. She's a force of nature, Captain. Okay. All right. So what else we got for the month of September? So those are the big highlights. So this should be an interesting month. Definitely a rock and roll month. But again, as with everything, these things build on other things. So nothing happens in isolation. So September is a continuation of things that have been building up since July and August. And again, none of this should be new territory for you guys, except for the Pluto stuff, right? So we are finishing out. We're literally putting the finishing touches on the cake. It is baked. It is put together. It is assembled. Now we're putting the icing on and decorating it. So that's what September has for us. Okay. Now, in September, we have a new moon on the 9th at 17 Virgo. This new moon on the 9th at 17 Virgo will make a beautiful sextile to Jupiter in Scorpio. So for those of you who do investigative work, who do research, who do a lot of behind the scenes stuff, this is going to be a really good new moon for you. So lots and lots of promising things happening. And With Saturn going direct right about the same time, one of the things that I would look for are also, or is also, some recognition from your higher ups for work that you have done and work that you are capable of doing. So don't fret too much if you're one of the behind the scenes people that gets stuff done and doesn't really ask for a lot of recognition for it. Your acknowledgments and recognition is coming. So no good deed goes unpunished. So you may find you're getting offers. You may get some offers for either more work in a more skilled, organized power or leadership capacity, or some type of recognition or acknowledgement for the work that you have done. But either way, it's good. It's good. So we're getting some good stuff. For those of you who do not work in behind the scenes stuff, and typically don't do the thankless, dirty jobs behind the doors and nobody sees, this is still a really good time. So the new moon sextiling Jupiter is a very promising new moon, and depending on what houses it's falling in your chart, should give you some good stuff. Now, the new moon will also, will also oppose Neptune. So in its own way, this is going to be a very romantic new moon. And remember, this is on the heels of this Venus-Mars getting ready to change signs. So they're still doing their sexy square, their square dance, their sexy square dance, and they're getting ready to change signs. So that new moon sextile Jupiter, squaring Neptune while we've got this Venus-Mars square, can make relationships a little confusing. This is not the time to have serious conversations about the future that you're planning on or hoping for with your loved one. However, this is an excellent time if you really want to put the moves on somebody or play the game of seduction and romance. This is the time to get sexy, get seductive, and really pull your inner femme fatale or Don Juan out and have some fun with it. Okay, and at the end of the month, on the 25th, we have a full moon at 1 Aries. Let me see what we got here. So Mercury will have moved down into Libra at that time. Mars rules or disposits this full moon, and it will be still squaring Uranus. And there it is. It's squaring Saturn. Bum, 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 bum. All right. So the big hitch this month, because there's always a hitch, right, is going to be at the end of the month when we get into this full moon. Now, the full moon at 1-2 Aries will be squaring our beautiful, now officially moving direct again, Saturn at 2 Capricorn. So this is a little bit of a hiccup, and can be a little challenging for folks, and will make people plenty grumpy, especially people who are either impatient and want to get a move on, or people who are in positions of authority and already feel like you're carrying too much responsibility anyway and not getting paid enough for it or getting enough appreciation. So in both of those cases, you want to give them kind of a wide berth and be extra gentle, with their feelings, because they're way cranky. This new moon squaring Saturn, not a fan. I'm not a fan. The upside here, I will say, the upside here is that this new moon will be sextiling Mars and Aquarius. So group activities are going to be good. Getting out, being with groups of people, believe it or not, and having a little fun and blowing off some steam is a very, very good thing. One of the biggest dangers with this particular full moon at the end of the month are feelings of isolation and really feeling like you're out here by yourself and doing it alone. That is literally the worst feeling in the world. So I don't know if any of you have ever had the displeasure of having to have experienced that feeling, but it's not okay. So for some of you who are, by circumstance or choice, a little more isolated or insulated than other people, this full moon is going to be particularly difficult because it will magnify and put a light on all those feelings of loneliness and isolation that we would expect with a new moon square Saturn. So the sextile to Mars, however, because Mars does disposit this full moon, and it is a friendly sextile, one of the things that will help you get the most out of this particular full moon and help you turn that corner into much happier, more productive places emotionally and mentally will be getting out and doing some type of group activity or just being out amongst the world. Go be in the world. And that will help a lot. So that is our that is our September 2018 horoscope. I will try and go back later and add to this. And so I'll try and do a sign-by-sign report in the Patreon section. Yeah. And that's it. So I have a couple of minutes, and then I'm going to go. And, oh, we've got 3 people in the room. All right. Okay, so I have like 5 minutes, and then I'm going to go. So does anybody have any questions real quick? And Pluto's 24 degrees in the 9th house. Right, but 24 degrees, what in your 9th house? I try, and as hard as I try, I still haven't got my mind reading stuff down yet. So you got to work with me a little bit here, guys. Okay. 24 Virgo and then 9th. So I'm going to wait just a second. I would look for, so that 24 Virgo, I would look for the quarter moon around the 16th. We've got a quarter moon at 24 Sag, which is going to make up, which is going to set up, was it a square to your own Pluto? Pluto? Right, Pluto. Right, and so the sun will also be on there, obviously, because it's a quarter moon. But at the same time that is happening, Mercury will also be there as well. So with a quarter moon on your Pluto and Mercury on that quarter moon on your Pluto, I would look for some important communication, email, letter, conversation, meeting, phone call. There's some type of important communication that will occur around that quarter moon. So I wouldn't take anything for granted, and I would definitely avoid pissing off police officers. I'm just saying. Or professors here in college. Anything else? Nothing? Are we all good? I hate leaving items like this. Okay, so I am gonna all right, I'm gonna go. I'm such a great public speaker. I am gonna go. There is, or there will be later, check back, give me like 24 hours. There should be a link. Well, maybe. Hi Sue, we just did the September horoscopes. Yeah, I don't know when I'm going to get around to the individual horoscopes for September. I'm sorry. So I'm not even going to lie. I promise you a date. But if you're a subscriber, you'll get a notification. Otherwise, you might have to check back on the links on this particular YouTube page. And also, we're going to be doing $10 tarot readings on Tuesdays. I'm taking a break from Pep Talk Tuesday. Not feeling very peppy these days. But I will be doing $10 tarot readings on Tuesdays or Thursdays or Wednesdays, but $10 tarot readings. And I will post a link for that on my Patreon page. And also I will make a short video here and let you guys know when to expect that. So it will be a really short reading. So it is a single question reading. And you, if you actually want a meaningful answer, you have to pick a simple question. It's not like you only get one question in life. So asking me questions like, will I be famous? When will I die? You know, I don't know, pick something grand or whatever. Like, what should I be doing for a living? You can ask that, but if it's going to take more than 10 or 20 minutes to get through the answer, you're not going to get the information you need in that short period of time. And it's not fair to you. It's certainly not fair to me. But if you ask me a specific question, like I'm thinking about going into medicine, you know, as my profession or my major in college, you know, is this a good idea? Like, we can look up stuff like that. Just a sidebar, boys and girls. So I am extremely tolerant and understanding about lifestyles. So you literally will never have to worry about me judging you for however you put your life together to make your life work. As long as everybody's happy and nobody's getting hurt and you're not getting hurt, I'm good with it. Okay. However, you got to know, like, I have a really low tolerance for ridiculousness, which is probably why I'm not making millions of dollars. So if you ask me a question in a reading that sounds an awful lot like, will so-and-so and I get married? Will so-and-so and I get back together again? Will so-and-so, will I hear from so-and-so on Tuesday? And you know that you and so-and-so broke up last week, and so-and-so has a restraining order on you because they don't ever want to talk to you again because you, I don't know, cheated on them with their sister, brother, cousin, boss, whatever. And, you know, frankly, the reality is they're probably never going to speak to you again, much less do something like, I don't know, marry you. If you ask me a ridiculous question like that, but you're literally fishing for an answer that you want as opposed to an answer that you need, we're probably going to figure that out really quick. And I'm not going to be sweet and kind and patient about it. I don't like being toyed with. So if you know you're playing games, please don't, because that is a waste of $10 and my time. And you're literally just going to frustrate me, and I'm going to end up pissing you off. And just why? You know what I mean? Like, really? Yeah, you would be amazed at some of the things that I've heard people ask me. And then, of course, afterwards, when you're like doing a little bit of clarification, you're like, oh, wait, what? A restraining order? Did you? Well, no wonder they're not going to like move in with you again. People. Oh, my God. So $10 tarot Tuesdays or Thursdays or Wednesdays. I will set it up. And maybe not one question. Maybe we'll just do like a couple questions or something like that. I don't know. I will figure it out. Well, and, you know, it all depends on how much time we have. So if we're really busy and I've got a lot of people that are scheduled, obviously we have to keep it down for like a question. But, you know, if it's not so busy, we've got some time, I'm more than happy to give you extra time to go over a couple of other questions. Because sometimes you just need somebody to give you a hand, figure out what direction you need to go in. Oh my God. And believe me, honey, you're not the only one. I am a professional astrologer and I think I'm pretty good at what I do. And even some days I am just like, oh my God, I wish somebody would tell me what the hell's going on, right? All right. So I think that's it. Okay. So I am going to go and lay down and watch some really, well, actually it's very well written television. And read a book. Oh, right, book recommendations. I picked this up at my local library. It's in my library, right? I would have never paid for this book, but it was in my library, which is why I'm reading it. So this is the book. Can you see that? There it is. This book is the most frightening thing I've read in a long time. So I highly recommend reading it. And if you can get it at your local library, then by all means get a free copy there and borrow it. If not, at least go to the bookstore and get through like the first 12 pages and you'll see what I'm talking about. Everything I suspect about the evangelicals taking over the Republican Party and infiltrating them and insinuating themselves in the Congress and all these people that are flanking the president's, that are in the cabinet and flanking the president, all being tied to evangelicals, everything I suspected is in fact true. I wasn't imagining this. So we're in for much, much bigger problems. I mean, Trump is who he is, but ultimately he's not the real threat right now. The real threat to us and our ability to get through the next 10, 20, 30 years peacefully is actually the evangelicals who've hijacked the Republican Party and the Russians, you know, and because they have a predatory political leader. And people don't realize this, but Russia is a remarkably poor country. They need money, they need business, they need resources, and they need assets. And they can't get it if nobody wants to play with them, which has been the case for 20, 30, 40, 50 years now. So, you know, boosting us out of our comfortable seat and position of privilege and insinuating themselves into the seat we used to occupy benefits them tremendously economically. So there's a lot more going on than the lunatic in office. But this book, I really recommend taking a look at because there's some important stuff in there that's way too complicated for me to explain in 30 seconds on the thing. But it's all there. It's all there. And the authors are very well-respected, established authors. So it's not like it's some kook in a basement who's cranking out conspiracy theory novels. All right. So, and that's it. So I know, right? Oh, blah, 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 blah. All right. So I'm going to go because now I'm rambling. And I will talk to you guys soon. Enjoy your September horoscope, and we'll see what we can do about getting individual scopes up. All right. And maybe, you know what I'm thinking? So you guys can send me an email or let me know what you think, right? You can post in comments below or whatever. So what if we did like a $10, why not a $10 astrology consultation, right? So what if we could pick like an aspect for the month and just look at that? Like for instance, this Pluto at 24 degrees Virgo in the 9th. Like we could easily spend just an entire chunk of time just talking about that planet at that degree and the aspects setting up to it this month in September and how this plays out in the chart. So, something to think about. All right, now I'm going to go. Bye.